Let's talk about one of the most fundamental and, let's be honest, one of the most frustrating truths in all of trading. This comes from the incredible work of Mark Douglas, and it's this idea that the market is always right, even when it feels completely, totally, and utterly wrong. So let's just dive right into this, shall we? I want to start with a question that really gets to the heart of everything. You know the feeling, right? You've done all your homework, the analysis is just perfect, everything, and I mean everything, points to the market going one way, and then it just goes the other way completely. Sound familiar? Well, what if that powerful need you have to be proven right is the very thing that's holding you back? You see, this constant clash between our own logic and what's actually happening on the charts, we can call that the trader's dilemma. It's this battle between what our brain tells us should be happening and what the market is actually doing. And here's that battle, laid out plain and simple. On one side, you've got your reasoning. I mean, it's brilliant, right? It's based on top-tier information, a solid analytical process. It feels so intellectually correct. But then, on the other side, you just have the market's price action. And here's the kicker. The price is going to move in the direction of the greatest force. That's it, period. Your logic, no matter how superior you think it is completely irrelevant if the collective force of the market just disagrees. Okay, so if our brilliant logic isn't running the show, what is? To understand that, we gotta strip away all the complexity and get down to a really, really simple definition of what a market actually is. So for just a minute, forget all the fancy algorithms, the complex economic theories, all of it. Mark Douglas says the market is simply the current consensus belief about value. But, and this is the really crucial part, that belief is only expressed by the people who choose to act on it, by actually making a trade. It's a reflection of action, not just opinions. And how many people does it take to create this powerful, undeniable force? You might think it takes millions, right? But the answer is just two. That's it. All you need is one person who's willing to buy at a certain price and one person who's willing to sell at that exact same price. The second they agree and that trade happens, bam, they've created the market. And because the trade actually occurred, that price is, by definition, right. And that trade, it's final. It's not some theory or an idea. It's a real event that happened. It was recorded. You can't just erase it because you don't agree with the price. It just is. It's a hard fact, an undeniable piece of the market's reality. And when you really start to accept that, it leads you to a pretty mind-bending idea. The market is this weird world where our normal, everyday concepts of right and wrong are just totally useless. I mean, as Mark Douglas himself puts it, right and wrong, as you may traditionally think of them, don't exist in the market environment. Just let that sink in for a second. The entire framework we use to judge things in our normal lives, it just doesn't apply here. The market is a completely different kind of beast. I mean, think about it. In the real world, having a PhD or a high IQ or a stellar reputation, that makes your opinion carry weight. People assume you're right. But in the market, none of that matters. The market doesn't care about your credentials. It only cares about one thing, and that's force. So let's talk about that force. If it's not our logic or our credentials, what is this invisible hand that's actually pushing prices around? Well, it all comes down to the collective power of belief in action. It works kind of like a chain reaction. See, it all starts with one trader who forms a belief. Then they act on that belief. They place a trade. Now just multiply that by thousands or millions of other traders all acting on their own beliefs. The sum of all those individual actions creates this massive net force, either more buying pressure or more selling pressure. And the price? It has absolutely no choice but to move in the direction of whichever force is greater. So, here's the bottom line. Your personal belief, no matter how well researched or how certain you are, it's basically a drop in the ocean. It means absolutely nothing to the market's overall movement. Unless, of course, you can trade with so much volume that you can single-handedly absorb all the opposition and become the market. And for pretty much all of us, that's just not going to happen. So this brings all these ideas together into one really powerful and, frankly, kind of inescapable truth about the relationship between you and the market. And here's that truth. The market is never wrong. You can argue with it, you can get mad at it, you can write a whole thesis on why it should be doing something else, but at the end of the day, the market's price is a fact of nature, kind of like gravity. It doesn't have an opinion. It can't be wrong. It just is. Think about this relationship for a second. It's completely unbalanced, and that's the whole point. The market is the environment. It can't be wrong. You, on the other hand, are the participant who has to operate in that environment. So, if a trade goes against you, and we've already established the market can't be wrong, well, who does that leave? The only conclusion is that you, the trader, can be wrong. Accepting this reality, well, it forces every single trader to face a really fundamental choice. This isn't about what indicator you use, it's about why you're even in the market in the first place. What is your real goal? At the end of the day, you can chase one of two goals. You can try to be right, to get that intellectual validation from the market that proves how smart you are, or you can try to make money, which is, the actual purpose of trading. And as Mark Douglas points out, these two goals, they are very, very often not the same thing. And that brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. When you're in the heat of the moment and the market is moving against you, you have to decide what is more important to you. Is it clinging to your analysis and that deep need to be right? Or is it aligning yourself with the cold, hard reality of the market to actually achieve your goal of making money? Honestly, the answer to that question is going to define your entire trading career.